All right, good morning, traders. Today is December 16th, 2025. My name, Coach Carignan. I moderate, I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading division of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you for subscribing to my content, following my content, sharing my content. Special shout out to John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted. Appreciate you sharing my content. Love that. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look at the markets today. I got a few announcements. Christmas Eve through the 26th. The rooms will probably be open, but there won't be any moderators in there. New Year's Eve till the second of the year, the new year. The rooms will probably be open, but there won't be any moderators in there in those times. So just letting you know, it's not going to be moderated in that time. We may drop in. I don't know. Maybe from time to time to see what's going on, but won't be any moderators in there. So, but the room, I'm pretty sure the rooms will be open. But again, no moderators will be in there. Just letting you know. Okay, so this morning, my SPY pivot, 681.20. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Yesterday, SPY, inside day, closing below a bearish cross, below the 17 EMA. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. FNGU, stinker that it is, and QQQ made lower highs, lower lows, closing underneath bearish traps underneath the 17 EMA. IWM made a lower high and a lower low, closing below a bullish trap but over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend, 10-minute bearish consolidation. Silver and gold made inside days, that's lower highs and higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. USO, daily downtrend, made a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. UNG, daily downtrend as well, made a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. US dollar index in a downtrend, closed near the 98.27 area. We like that. SPY max pain is 681 with a put to call ratio of about 1 put to each call. That expires today at 4:15. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15, while the security options expire at 4. The main event this week is going to be CPI, which is released on Thursday, December 18th, right around 8:30. That should be some volatility. By the way, there is an event today at 8:30. All right, which may provide opportunity, and that is the employment situation. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this, or your second time, or your third time, okay, these are all in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. Okay, if they got a little star, they're building out a launch pad, also known as a bull flag, from which to launch higher. No guarantees that they launch higher, but they are building out a launch pad. And we'll see if they launch up higher. But typically they do. About 80%, 70 to 80% of the time they do. Bears, these are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. Downtrends under the 17. If they got a little star, they're building out a bear flag. Or I call it a platform from which to dip lower. All right, so daily downtrends under the 17. Daily uptrends over the 17. Okay, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Take a look at SPY. We'll look at it on the 10-minute chart. I'm going to take the pre-market off, and then we'll come back to it in just in a few minutes. Okay, so coming into the close, I want you to see the price action. Okay, so we came from up on high. All right, we came down low, tag VWAP, and then for the rest of the day, okay, you can see we consolidated over to the right. Okay, just bearish consolidation to the right. So for me, no uptrend, no downtrend, just bearish consolidation with a bear flag, because we came from up here We landed down here and we went to the right. So that's a bear flag right there. So bearish consolidation into the close. On the 2-hour chart, you can see we've got this yellow line. That's the 3 EMA. Got the candlesticks riding below the 3 EMA, and you got the 3 EMAs riding below the 8 EMA. That is the white line right here, right above there. So we've got a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. Okay, so 2-hour downtrend. On the daily chart, we have, I think it was an inside day. Did I say that? I think I said, yeah, inside day. So that's higher low, lower high, closing. See the cross, closing underneath the bearish cross. But over the 17, still see the green dot right there. So over the 17 EMA and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at the game plan. All right, then we're going to go talk about last night's price action. Okay, so here's our game plan for December 16th. Okay, remember the pivot, 680-120. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Green erases red entry. See that bearish engulfing right there? So right over the top, we erase that big red candle. Okay, probably want to be long right there. So over 683.15 is my bullish entry for an uptrend. Now, I don't know if we get there, but there'll probably be, that is the midpoint. That area is the midpoint, and I'll show you that in just a second. So we take this. You can see actually the midpoint's 684. Okay, so probably going to target that area. All right, so good to know anyways. But anyways, price action right up there. I'm looking for price to pull up to there. I don't know if it'll get over that bearish engulfing candle, but if it does get up there and hold, I would look for price to come all the way back to the megaphone uptrend line, which happens to be right here. I'll draw it in for you. Right there. Okay, so if we get over this peak will be the next target. If we get over that, the megaphone top line right up here. Okay, all the way up there to make a new high. Okay, that's going to be my target. Now, I don't know if we get there. All of that today, that's quite a bit. It's about a $10 ride from 680 all the way up to 690 up there. So we'll see. Anyways, okay, I like 3 days till expiration and 10 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5 specifically for the open interest. Trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. I prefer that because my favorite price point would probably be right around 30 cents up to $1.20, $1.40. Any more than that, then I give up too much of my buying power because I have a max risk a limit, and my max risk limit is 7,000. It's always 10% of my account. So my account's 70K, so my max risk is going to be 7,000. That's 10%. So my goal is going to be 703 today, but I only have limited amount of funds to put towards risk. So for that reason, I like to take trades that are, with a price point where the option is priced right around 30 cents to $1.20 to $1.40. Any more than that, and it starts tying up too much of my capital, I'd rather go a little further out of the money with a lower price point in order to capture some gains. Now, I'm not opposed to trading in the money options, okay? If you like in the money options, I'm all for it, all right? But I have rules that I'm trading only 10%. So that's the reason I choose the out of the money options. If you have in the money options, you will get better performance than I will trading out of the money, okay? All right? You'll get much better performance. You'll get more closer to the penny for penny price movement in the SPY, okay? So again, I'm not opposed to trading in the money options if I had more capital to spend on it, okay? So I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. If a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest down here, long before it gets to the green erases red entry up here. I'm not opposed to trading it. Just like to see it break that bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. Same thing on 10-minute downtrends. All right, if a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, long before the red erases green entry, I'm not opposed to trading it to the downside as long as it breaks that bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Again, my price target for today, back over 683.15. I think clear up to the midpoint and maybe on top of it. So here's the midpoint. All right, without the pre-market on there, it's 684.22. All right, so I would look for price to come back up to here, probably even up to that high yesterday's open today if they happen to get bullish and break this 10-minute downtrend. Okay, so let's go look at the pre-market. We do have a 10-minute. Nextly, let's go ahead and look at QQQ game plan and QQQ, and we'll come back. All right, so all right, QQQ game plan, green erase red over 614.95 again. See the bullish engulfing right there over 614.95, green entry right there. Okay, bullish green entry. Pivot 612.50. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Red erase is green. Underneath, that's not right. I think it's 609. Yeah, 609.30. Make sure. Yeah, 609.30. Okay, red erase green under 609.30. All right, and again, I like 3 days till expiration and 10 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. More open interest equals higher liquidity. Higher liquidity means a tighter bid-ask spread, less slippage. Again, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Same parameters, okay? If the uptrend were to manifest down here, it'd be nice. I'd just like it to break the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle because it's an uptrend. All right, on the 10-minute downtrends, if it were to manifest up here, I'd like to trade it. But I'd just like to see it break that 10-minute bearish rubber band candle, all right, to the downside. All right, let's look at the pre-market. I'm going to put the pre-market on there. And we're going to look at a little bit of price action. And I'm going to point out some things, okay? So first thing I want to point out is this peak right here. Okay, SPY's got one. Okay, SPY's got one. And QQQ has one right here. See that peak? There is actually a valley. You can see it right here. Okay, right there. Okay, so there's a valley there. Get my drawing tools out, see if they're going to work. So that's a peak between two valleys. Now, last night in the overnight session, now, you know, oftentimes I say that will typically be a target is that peak between two valleys. So here's price action from the high down to the low and then back up. See right there. So I'm going to go back up right there. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take the other side. Now here's the other valley. Comes down to here and rips up to there. Okay. So that is the peak between two valleys. So last night, you can see QQQ looks like they already hit that valley. SPY just hit it last night. But you can see price action for SPY. I'm going to head on over to SPY right now. So SPY hasn't hit this, but if you look at overnight price action in the ES, they did come down here and tag this peak. So I'm looking for price to probably pull back up to this uptrend line. We're currently in the middle of a kind of a megaphone right now. Okay, so take a look. Here's our megaphone right there. Actually, we could probably pull it back to there. Drag this up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm looking for price to come back up to the megaphone on the top side. So we'll see. First, we got to break the midpoint of this pullback, break out that candle high, get on top of that, and then we could come up here and tackle that breakdown candle high all the way up there at the top of the megaphone. Okay, so I'm looking for a bounce back to the midpoint sometime today. So again, where's the midpoint? I think I mapped it out earlier, but I'll go over it just one more time here. So let's zoom in. Okay, we're going to put our quad lines on there. So I'm going to take off the megaphone. I'll leave the top line on. Again, our megaphone, we're looking for it to come back all the way up to 684.25, 684.33. Okay, I would look for a price to target anywhere between 683.50 on up to 684.30, 684.50. Okay, so we're in the middle of a bounce in the pre-market this morning. So I'm going to put the pre-market on there. Okay, you can see here we came down, so I'm looking for price to pull all the way back up there to that midpoint area. Now you can see with the overnight price action, it drags the midpoint down to 683.50. All right, so anywhere between 683.50 on up to 684.30 area is where I'm targeting today if we get a 10-minute uptrend. All right, so we'll take a look at what we got today. Okay, so we got something trying to develop right here. Let's go to the 10-minute chart. So you got a little 10-minute uptrend right there over VWAP right there, looking nice. Here's a VWAP pullback. Okay, so we're looking at this to probably run up there, test those highs. If they happen to break through, we're looking for a breakout all the way back up to 683.50 on up to 684.30. That's my target area for a 10-minute uptrend right there. Okay, now if we happen to have a downtrend today, I would be targeting 675, 676. That would be my area to target. Again, that valley between the two peaks and the all-time high anchored VWAP right there, 675.55. Okay, so the valley between the peak between two valleys right here, and this purple line, which is the all-time high anchored VWAP. If we get a 10-minute downtrend today, okay, again, target the overnight low, and if we get there early, maybe some time to come all the way down and target the peak right here between the two valleys, get below that, and I'll be looking for the all-time high anchored VWAP residing close to 675.38, probably 675 area right there, okay, on a 10-minute downtrend. So currently, we got a 10-minute uptrend that's getting pinched off. All right, so if we close underneath VWAP, again, we'll look for 5-minute, 10-minute bearish rubber band candles to break, and then we'll look for price to come down to the overnight lows, all right, and then down to the peak between two valleys right here. Okay, that's located on November 20th, and then down to the pink line. Okay, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, if we get a 10-minute downtrend right now, looking like we got a 10-minute uptrend that's getting pinched off. So we're getting a VWAP pullback, all right? That's a little opportunity right there. Again, I'm expecting they came all the way down to 676, $7, $8 bounce. That would take us up to 683, okay? So I'm looking for price to bounce here, okay? So I like this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do a little purchase. So actually, I'm going to put in a buy order right here. Right there. Hopefully I can get filled. And I'll put one up over here in case there's a breakout right up there over the top of those wicks. All right, so that's SPY, all right? So watch the first 15 minutes of trading and looking for the breakout of the range, okay? Right over the top of this base, okay, is a no questions asked buy, okay? That's over the top of that base right there, over 681.52 is a no questions asked buy. Okay, so that will probably be a target sometime this morning. See this right here? See where VWAP left off yesterday? That will probably be a target. We get on top of 681.52. That's a break of all of this consolidation. Okay, for me, that is a no questions asked buy up top there. So we'll see what happens. All right, again, I'm going to watch the first 15 minutes and trade the breakout of that first 15 minutes. Okay, 10-minute uptrend. Again, I'm targeting 683.50 on up to 684. 10-minute downtrend. I'm targeting 670. The overnight low right here, which it's even lower than that, but that overnight low at 677.79, then 676. Okay, and then down here to 675.50. Okay, so those are my targets for today on SPY. All right, let's go back to QQQ. All right, covered the game plans, covered how I'm going to trade SPY this morning. All right, so let's take a look at 10-minute chart. I'm going to take the pre-market off here. Okay, so we can see what we left off with. Okay, we left off with on the QQQ, it's 10-minute bearish consolidation, but that's a much better downtrend than SPY had. Right there, 10-minute downtrend. Not really pointed down until you get to the last candle. For the most part, it was consolidating over to the right. So there's 10-minute downtrend, bearish consolidation, either one into the close yesterday. 2 hour, you got the candlesticks under the 3 underneath the 8. So candlesticks and 3. You can see the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA pointed down. So it's a downtrend, 2 hour downtrend. On the daily chart, okay, so we've got lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap, underneath the green dots. That's 17 EMA. Okay, so we haven't broken anything yet. Okay, we're just having a pullback. Nothing to really see here, except opportunity. Price action right now in the middle of quadrant 4, right there. So that's bullish, and we're still in an uptrend because we haven't broken any lows yet on the daily time frame below the 17. This would be the low to beat right there. So still bullish and still in an uptrend up there. This is the April lows in the middle of quadrant 4. Still bullish, still in an uptrend right there on QQQ. Okay, go back to SPY. Okay, take this off. Take that off. Take that off. Okay. Okay, you can see we got a bull flag up here. Move up and over to the right. Okay, so yesterday's candle, inside day. Okay, closing over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, top of quadrant 4. That's still bullish, still in a bull flag. Nothing's broken. We haven't taken out any lows, so I'm still bullish, still in an uptrend, even with these two big red candles right there. Still bullish, still in an uptrend up there on SPY on the daily chart. Weekly chart, still bullish in an uptrend, top of quadrant 4, and in an uptrend, still bullish. Monthly chart, and that goes for QQQ as well, bullish and in uptrends. All right, so let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Look at it on the daily chart. Diamond Dow, remember, not yesterday, but the day before, that would be Friday, new all-time high right there. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17, over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's still bullish, top of quadrant 4. Here's the April low. Okay, over here, top of quadrant 4, that's still bullish. They haven't broken anything, and in an uptrend, IWM. Okay, so lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap, over the 17, over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, not yesterday, but the day before, that'd be Friday. Okay, you can see new all-time high for IWM was made. Okay, so price action still top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. They haven't broken any lows and still in an uptrend on IWM. FNGU is their stinker. All right, look at that. Okay, so lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap. Okay, underneath the 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Under all of this, this would be the major support, underneath the major support right there. Testing this low right here where the bulls came in and rescued the price action. Okay, you can see FNGU clearly does not look like SPY. Okay, so I'm just doing a full 180 or 360 all the way back to where it started right here. That's FNGU. All right, so they are neutral. All right, they're neutral. All right, and in a downtrend. There's a low. They made a lower low. Okay, really don't want to see them break this low, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Okay, but it is what it is. So we've got downtrend and neutral. No longer bullish, now just neutral. Unless showing a head and shoulders pattern right here. So I don't know how far they want to go. Maybe to the bottom of this consolidation here. That'd be 23.38. We'll see what happens. That's FNGU. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver and gold put in inside days, lower highs, higher lows, closing over bullish traps, over the 17, over their prior all-time high anchored VWAPs. So there's silver. Take a look at gold. All right, again, same thing. Inside day, over the trap, over the 17. Here's the pink line, all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, take a look at UNG. Okay, UNG right here. Okay, lower high, lower low. Closing underneath a bearish trap, underneath 17. Okay, so it's back in quadrant 1, so that's bearish and in a downtrend. Okay, now you'd be looking at it up here like, John, how can you say that is bearish? Well, again, you got to get in the neutral area. They got there for one candle, and then look, typical UNG gave it up. Okay, so there it is. Lower high, lower low, under the trap, under the 17. Down at quadrant 1, that's bearish, at almost near the bottom of quadrant 1. That's bearish, all right, and in a downtrend. That's UNG. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO, bearish, now in the lower third, so bearish and in a downtrend. There's the low. They made a lower low, so bearish and in a downtrend down here on USO. Technicals, T2101. Market moved down yesterday. Participation and market breadth kind of stayed the same, and I'm happy about that. That's bullish outlook for me. Okay, if I'd have seen them all piling on, all right, that'd be different, but they didn't. Just kind of like normal price, normal participation. So I like that. T2122, we came out of the buy zone, overbought zone yesterday to chomp around between the seller's chop zone and the buyer's chop zone, leaving the day with what looks to be the beginning of a little rally going on. So we'll see. I like that. Maybe they can make their way back up there. Okay, I don't like making the lower lows. I had so much hope for them not making lower lows right here, holding this area to come back up here to the buy overbought line and probably trade price around there, but not. They came all the way down to the neutral line and then bounced around there for a while. So that's T2122. Still on the bullish side of the midpoint. You can see closed up here on the 15-minute chart. T2123. Okay, again, you got this price moving up and over to the right. That's bullish. That's a bull flag. They're holding those highs. Still in an uptrend over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Okay, and if you measured the pullback from the all-time high, I believe that puts us pretty close to the midpoint right here. Yep, we're over the midpoint. That puts us on the bullish side of the midpoint. Like that, T2123. 15-minute chart, T2123. 3-bar chart, price action over the flat 200 SMA. That's bullish. You got a high. We made a higher high. That's an uptrend. I like that. Okay, so again, middle of quadrant 4 from the April low. Middle of quadrant 4. That's still bullish, and we're in an uptrend. I like it. All right, that's T2123. FNGU, stinker. Okay, price gaps down and then trades down and then bear flags down. Okay, so you can see a bearish gap down right there. Not much, but a little bit. Okay, so price comes down over to the left. Okay, so that's bearish. Under the 200 SMA, not good. That's bearish. Underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP and moving down, that would be bearish. Underneath the major support of all the consolidation, that's also bearish underneath there. Okay, so and in a downtrend, making a low, and you can see obviously making lower lows. So in a downtrend, so not looking good for FNGU. Now FNGU's got those 10 heavyweights inside of QQQ and SPY. Okay, thank you, Tex. So it's got those 10 heavyweights, 10 of the most heavily weighted securities inside of QQQ and SPY. So wherever that goes, it tends to jerk those two indexes right along with it. So the fact that this is in a downtrend is probably the reason why SPY and QQQ aren't getting very good rallies going on. Okay, so we need FNGU to bounce here at the double bottom area, all right, and start making a concerted effort to get back up over this 200 SMA, get back over that all-time high anchored VWAP, and get back over what was once the major support line. We'll see. Definitely don't want to see an H pattern rollover where price comes up underneath it and then rolls over and makes a lower low. Don't want to see that. But it very well may happen. Okay, so got to keep your head on a swivel in case anything happens. So there's FNGU. All right, now let's take a look at economic package. Okay, US dollar index right here. Okay, here's the 2025 high. Came down with bear flagging. Notice we come down and move over to the right. Daily price action. This is a daily chart. We got a low here. We made a lower low. We made a lower high. So we got a double top there. Made a lower high, made a lower low. So price is moving down. Okay, so this is good. All right, weak dollar. That's good for securities and the markets. Okay, so you can see price moving down. For the consumer in us, it sucks. But for the indexes and the precious metals, this is great because their value goes up. Okay, so dollar still in a downtrend. Thank you so much, Alan, for sharing that. Okay, and what do we got here? Earnings reports. Okay, for today, we've got Lennar. Again, familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. All right. Wednesday, Micron Technologies is reporting after the close, $270 billion. Okay, that will have an effect on the tech sector. Okay, not a market mover, but definitely a headliner. It could be the catalyst to move things in the right direction. The rest of the group here is familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Micron could be a catalyst. Okay. Thursday, Accenture, all right, $180 billion. Again, familiar names, nothing here that's going to move the markets right there on Thursday. Friday, more familiar names, nothing that's going to move the market. So Wednesday, it's Micron, $270 billion. That's the one I'd probably want to keep an eye on. On the economic calendar, okay, for today, we've got employment situation comes out at 8:30. They shared it in the room with me. Housing starts and permits at 8:30. Retail sales at 8:30. PMI composite flash 9:45. Business inventories delayed. So that's from last month, 10 o'clock. And then tomorrow we've got more retail sales, okay, at 8:30. So if you didn't get enough retail sales today, we're going to back it up with another report tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Business inventories at 10. Atlanta Fed inflation expectation at 10. Petroleum report at 10:30. Thursday, we've got CPI. That's the main event this week. Okay, at 8:30 in the morning. Jobless claims 8:30. Philly Fed manufacturing 8:30. And a gas report at 10:30. Okay, on Friday, we got personal income and outlays at 10. And existing home sales at 10 o'clock as well. Consumer sentiment 10:30 and a rig count at 1. Okay, so employment situation. Let's see, we went up 682.24, then we backed off. All right, so it was looking good. Let's take a look at those economic numbers. See what I can get from that. No promises. Employment situation, non-farm payrolls. Consensus was minus 20,000 to 100,000. We got 64,000, so we're inside the consensus. All right. Unemployment rate 4.5 and actual was 4.6. You can see we're well inside the consensus for that. Private payrolls 69K. That looks good month over month. Manufacturing payrolls minus 5,000 to minus 12 to minus 3. We came in at minus 5. That's well in within consensus. Participation rate 62.5. We ticked up a little bit there. Average hourly earnings prior was 0.2. Consensus was 0.3. And we got 3.5. So that's good. All right, a little bit low there on the year over year, but didn't seem to get a report over here. Average work week was 34.3 hours, and we're on the high side of that. So employment situation, nothing to be alarmed about there. That was good. Payrolls rose by 64 in November, so more jobs than expected. Delayed jobs number shows. Okay, so more jobs than what we expected, and that's positive. Retail sales, we've got prior at 2.5, consensus was 2, and we got 0, so we were flat. That was not good. Without vehicle sales, 0.4. We're on the high side. And X vehicles and gas month over month, 0.5. So again, on the high side. So retail sales, I'm going to say that looked good if we're taking these two numbers. Not sure what happened there. Consensus was minus 0.2 to 0.4. We came in at 0. So actually just right inside the range. Kind of wish it was a little bit better than that though. Okay, so that's it for economic numbers this morning. Nothing really terrible there, other than a disappointment with the retail sales. I would have thought they'd have been up a little higher, but they're not. Okay. All right, that's it. And then we did Max Payne. Max Payne for today, 681. Okay, put the call ratio about 1 put for each call that expires today. All right, that's it for me, traders. All right, I'll see you guys all in about 35, 40 minutes, and we'll kick off the market, see if we can make some money this morning with the price action.